So, I'm mainly doing this just for my own sake because I get very triggered for no good reason when I watch Yu-Gi-Oh content of people playing the game very poorly, despite the fact they should be playing it very well. And I want to just make this video for my own self. If people like it, that'd be cool. I'd like to do this more often in the future with other videos I've watched, but I mainly want to focus on videos I watch from Dzeeff, usually his Master Roulette and Master Saga series, because if I had $1 for every misplay, I'd be a millionaire. I feel like I need to be paid to watch the videos sometimes, just because of how much I'm like throwing myself at a wall, trying not to scream my head off at some of the misplays. Case in point, this video. Now, this video will be referencing a moment from Game 1 of the DZ video for Master Roulette, Success Whale Works. It's from 2 years ago. I'll make sure to keep the link put in the description so you can find the video. And I'll even try and timestamp when the match starts. But I'm not going to show what MBT's deck looks like because I took so long making Doug's deck. It's whatever. And I didn't even do his extra deck all the way because it doesn't matter. But I want to quickly go over the deck building that annoyed me. I was originally not going to because I've been thinking about doing this for like the last hour, but I decided against it. And then events of game one that it pissed me off no end. I don't even play Performapal. I think I've used these cards like 5 times max, and it was playing Duel Links when they gave you a structure deck for free to promote one of the new cards or something. And like it wasn't even good then because you only got one copy of all the cards and it was not consistent in the slightest. So let's get it started. Doug's deck could have been better with what he pulled had he read the cards, but unfortunately, he, especially in the early parts, he didn't like to read, let alone pendulum monsters. I believe even in a part in the video when he's opening the first couple packs, he pulls Smile Sorcerer. He's like, just look at all the text on this card. And he talks about how like his biggest challenge is probably going to be overcoming his lack of reading. He pulled some good cards. Like there are some great cards in here. 3 copies of Pinch Helper and Sealed is nuts. Getting 2 types of trap holes, pretty good. Lost Winds, insanely good. And I'd say the core of the deck he made is fine. The issues I have is the strategies. So, first off, let's just ignore Good Witch. It's just a fine Book of Moon card. Vjom is just an unkillable by battle guy that theoretically can also do the cubic counter. It's not that bad. It doesn't come up in game one though. Cards he has. Friend Donkey is just a special for Performapal from hand or grave if it's level 4 or lower. Hand Samuraiger if it destroys a card by battle and sends it to the graveyard. It gets to add a level 5 or higher pendulum from your deck. The only cards this can add in Doug's deck is King Bear, which is god awful. I think he just put it in here as a high scale. And Smile Sorcerer, which we'll get to why that's bad in a bit. He also pulled 2 long Foam Bull. This card is going to be the reason why I got mad because he reads it in the video and still doesn't use it. Oh man. 1 Salute Tiger, it's basically just Hand Samuraiger, but there's no level restriction. It just has to be a Performapal Pendulum. 3 copies of Second Donkey. Pretty good card. If you have 2 cards in your pen scales, then it doesn't even have to be Performapals. It just has to be 2 cards in your pen zones. You get to add a Performapal monster from your deck to your hand. Otherwise, send it to the graveyard. He's got this card, Performapal Sleight Hand Magician. This card tributes a Performapal that isn't a pendulum to summon itself, and then once per turn, you discard a card to blow up a face-up card in the field. This card is nuts. It should have been on his mind the whole time. Unfortunately, it wasn't. You got 2 copies of Goldfang. It's not that good, but you gotta play it. It's an 1800 that on summon makes itself, and then it gains 200, so it goes to 2k. And then if you have anything else, it also gets 200. The pendulum effect, it comes up, but it's not that good. It just makes it so if your performance power destroys a monster by battle, it does 1,000 burn damage. It's okay. It's a low scale. It's whatever. King Bear, God, is awful. The pendulum effect is just nightmarishly bad because if you activate its turn, you can destroy it to add a level 7 or higher to your hand that's in your grave or the extra deck. Basically, put this in your scale, it blows up in the end phase if you want it to, and you just get it back. It what? Actually, wait, no, it doesn't because it's level 6, so it can't even get itself back. This card is awful. And then the monster effect isn't even good at all because it can't be destroyed by spell or traps while in attack position, and it gains 100 attack for each performance pal card you control during your battle phase. It's a 2200. It's awful. Shouldn't have played this card, but it's a high scale, so I understand. 3 copies of Paratrace. Or is it Paratrice? Oh no, Paratrio. I thought it was getting cut off by the wind symbol. My bad. Which isn't that bad. The monster effect is really all you care about, which is just when this card is destroyed by battle, special summon a perform upon monster from your deck, except append. Which means you can summon Friend Donkey, Hand Samurai Gur, Long Phone Bull, Salute Tiger, Second Donkey, or Sleight Hand Magician. The pendulum scale effect is okay because it makes it become a high scale. That's fine. Seal Eel is another reason Doug loses game 1 because he uses it so poorly, in my opinion. Uh, on on summon, it is Night Beam that doesn't destroy. It's a Night Beam version of the Trickstar field spell that prevents you from activating. So they can't respond to it, but it doesn't destroy it. It just makes it so you can't use it. The Pendulum Scale effect is really good though. It's just an imperm at like slow speed. It uses target a face of monster your opponent controls, negates effects. This does come up. Then we got 2 copies of Silver Claw. It's not good. It's a crappy scale, but it's a 5 scale, so you can summon your 4s, and all the other low scales are like 2 and 3, so that's fine. And then the Pen effect is just all of them get 300 attack. It's not that good, not that bad. You play it, whatever. And then when it declares an attack, all of them gain 300 attack to the end of the battle phase. It's fine. You got a Skullcrobat Joker. No need to talk about why this card's good. Smile Sorcerer. This card, he tunneled on this one. He didn't tunnel enough on this one. The Pend effect lets it get summoned if a card you control with attack higher than its original attack is destroyed by battle or card effect. Will this come up often? Not often enough in this deck, but it could come up because think about it. If your Silver Claw dies while it's attacking, you get to summon this card. If it's in the Pen scale and any Perform Hell dies, it gets to summon itself. If you summon Goldfang and anything dies, it gets to summon itself. This card is okay. It's also a low scale. It's really good. The monster effect searches a Smile spell trap. Now, Doug mentions how he was thinking about playing Smile Potion to draw 2 cards, but decided against it. Now, he did decide to play 3 copies of Smile Universe. I truthfully believe he did not read this card because, well, yes, it says special as many face-up pen monsters from your extra deck as possible. It's Master Roll 5. You gotta have Link Zones or an extra monster zone available. Meaning, at best, this card's summoning 1. Now, Doug did have Link monsters. The only summonable one he had was the dinosaur that changes types or attributes, whatever you want. That points up and down. Meaning, if you have that monster, I think it's Reprodocus. If you have that, and you activate this, you summon 1 pen. You summon 1 pen from your extra deck. You give your opponent like life points equal to its attack, and then you can't summon for the rest of the turn. He should not have played this. He should have played the other Smile card. I believe, what is it called? Here it is, Smile World. All face-up monsters currently on the field gain 100 attack for each monster currently on the field until the end of this turn. This card, when searched off Smile Sorcerer, would buff everything by a couple hundred, assuming you have multiple cards on field. Well, what is his effect? Well, if this card's attack is higher than its original attack, you can draw cards equal to the number of monsters you control whose attack is higher than their original attack. You can't special summon monsters for the rest of the turn, though. But who cares? If you have this guy and 2 other cards, when you summon him, you get Smile World. That means everything gets buffed by 300, assuming your opponent doesn't have anything on field. And then that means you activate his effect, you won't be special summoning anymore, but you draw 3 cards. Now, there's actually another Performapal card he could have used that I believe he pulled, but he unfortunately did not use it. I'm going to see if I can find it real quick because I should have done this before, but I was just too busy trying to set this stuff up. I believe it is a pendulum monster. Want to say it's Laughmaker? There it is, Laughmaker. Pendulum effect. If your opponent controls a monster whose current attack is higher than its original attack, gain life. It's fine. What you really want it for is the stat line and the monster effect, where if it declares an attack, it gains 1,000 attack for each monster on the field whose attack is higher than its original attack, except other monsters you control. So if your opponent has a monster that with high attack that's higher than normal, it's gonna get attack. And then if it's destroyed by battle or card effect, while its attack is higher than normal, which would be happening usually in battle in this matchup, then you can target a monster in the grave and summon it. Not that bad. Like, I think based off of what he pulled, it's better to go for Smile Sorcerer and use Smile World. Unfortunately, he used Smile Universe. It's just pain. Anyways, continuing on, he had 1 copy of Trump Girl. Now, I believe he did pull the other card. What is it? There it is. Whim Witch, where if your opponent controls a monster summoned from the extra deck and you don't, you can summon this card from the pen zone, and then it can be treated as 2 tributes for the summon of a pendulum monster. Had he gone more in on the high level pens, I think this would have been a good card, but I think putting Trump Girl in there is fine. However, he doesn't have a fusion he can make, because both fusions he pulled, Gatling Ghoul requires a Performapal monster, which she meets the condition of, and a level 5 or higher Dark monster, which, looking at this deck, there's no level 5 or higher Dark monster. So we can't summon either of these. And Odd Eyes Metal Claw, I believe this man pulled Odd Eyes monsters. And I know this was early in Saga, or not Saga, in Master Roulette, so maybe he didn't fully commit to the, like, you can craft polymerization for stuff yet. But had he done that, which I feel like he might have had he read this card more, he would have noticed this card, when summoned by polymerization, it's just an Odd Eyes and a Pendulum, or a Performapal, that's all it is. It is a 3k towers that can go to 33 when it attacks specifically. Is it good? Not really, but it's still a 3k tower in seals, so you probably want to build around that by throwing in a couple Odd Eyes and polymerizations. Plus, the Odd Eyes cards you could do is like the Odd Eyes like Taurus or whatever, which I believe gives piercing. So like, not too bad, at least in sealed. If we look real quick, because you can use the Odd Eyes Light Phoenix, which if you have it in the summon in the pen zone, when they declare a direct attack, you can summon it, and then you contribute it, target Performapal, and give it attack. Is it that good? Not really, but it's servable at least. But then there is, if I can find it real quick, the Odd Eyes Minotaurus, which just, it's a 6 scale, which seeing as your stuff is around 4s, that's fine. Gives them piercing, and then the monster effect makes it so that they lose attack when you, or your opponent's monsters lose attack when you attack for each Performapal and Odd Eyes card you control. It's okay. It's still, I think it's perfectly fine to use those in the deck with polymerization just to make a 3k towers. Like, perfectly fine. So, this card being in here does nothing. He had 1 copy of Bubble Barrier, and I swear, I have to check again, but if he pulled more than 1 copy of Bubble Barrier and he wasn't playing it, I can't. Performance Hurricane is not bad. It returns cards to the hand equal to the number of performable monsters you have. Not that bad. Already gone over why Smile Universe sucks. He should be playing Smile World instead. I get it's a minuscule attack buff, but like, it's something. If anything, honestly, had he had this in certain situations, it would have been good. Lost Wind's a good card. Pinch Helper's a good card. Trapples are fine. I have these cards in here just to not, instead of making the entirety of MBT's deck, I just did the cards we see in the game. Besides his extra deck one, because I'm going to go through a hypothetical situation that is likely to have happened, assuming Doug didn't punt game one, for lack of better words. So let's quickly go to the solo game. Now, at the start of this game, wow, I have like none of the cards. It's crazy. At the start of the game, Doug had in hand 2 copies of Hand Samuraiger. He had a Seal Eel, 2 copies of Hand Samuraiger, a Friend Donkey, and a Goldfang. This. There you go. So this was Doug's hand. It was hot garbage. Now, MBT, we will just summon all these so I can move them to the other side. This. Special summon here. Special summon here. I wish I knew a better way to do this, but I don't do this often enough to know. If I end up making this a series, I'll happily make a faster way of doing it. Let's just move here. Move here. Can't put them in the back row, unfortunately. Move here. Move here. And there should be Bubble Bringer. And where's the last one? There's another Nere. Oh, and the tech bug. Okay. So, what do we have for MBT's side? So, MBT on turn 1 has Nere, Gund, Abyssdine. He has 1 copy of the Atlantean. Or, sorry, turn 1, actually, or his turn 2, I guess. He has this Atlantean, Gund, Dine, Turge, and the Bubble Ringer Trap, and then he draws for turn a copy of Nere. So, I really wish I could move these. Actually, I can do that. Just overlay these. Save space. And then do this. Sorry, this is so horribly slow. I really need to find a better way to do this. Unfortunately, I'm doing everything myself, so it's really hard. I'll flip this up. So, his opening hand, Bubble Ringer, Abyssdine, Abyss Gund, a single copy of Attack Squad, Abyss Turge. How does Doug start his turn? Well, if you look at his hand, it's not that good. The only rank 4 he has at his disposal was I think it's Masquerade, which requires 3 level 4s. It's usable. He's not going to be able to make it. Unless he gets good scales, there's no way his deck is making it. So his options are Friend Donkey, either the Samuraigers, Seal Eel, Goldfang. Goldfang, no reason you ever summon this. Seal Eel, it's turn 1, there's nothing. No, you're not summoning this, meaning you're either summoning Friend Donkey to summon something else with it, or a Hand Samuraiger. He's got 2, it's best to just do a Hand Samuraiger. Choosing position, if you want to go safe, it goes face down so you take no damage, or face up just because you want to have its high attack stat in case it's something that MBT can't get over. Doug chooses to set face down. He then passes turn. On MBT's turn, he draws a copy of Abyss Nere. So now MBT's hand consists of Dine, Gund, Nere, Bubble, Atlantean, and Turge. MBT decides to set. I'm just going to send these all to the graveyard. It's too annoying to deal with this normally. I'll just bring them out as they show up. this let's pretend this is face down. MBT is going to set Bubblebringer, and he's going to set one of the Nayrays from hand. Now, knowing that he has all these cards in his hand, I think MBT was going too slow. Summoning this Nayray, the one benefit to it is that it's a 2000 defender. That's it. I think that what instead he should have done is gone more on the aggressive. Now, he explains, after muting himself so Doug can't hear, that he's playing a control deck with this deck. He wants to take it slow and use the water on us to basically power through. I think the better play, at least turn one, if you is going aggro, summon Turge. You won't get the effect, but like, okay. And then you attack, it's in defense position. If it's something you really want to beat over, like a 2k defender, you can use this. Otherwise, no need. But his play is fine too, especially since he sets Bubble Ringer, which, if you didn't know, he called it Gravity Bind, but it's level 4 or higher, can't attack directly, and then during your turn you can send it from the field to the grave to target 2 level 3 or lower waters with the same name and summon both, but their effects are negated. Perfectly fine card. So he's got both these cards face down. Play passes back to Dzeeff. Now, Dzeeff draws for turn. Perform a pal second donkey. This one turn shapes the entirety of the game. So remember, MBT has this face down card. Doug knows he's playing Mermail. In Mermail, there are 2 traps he should be worried about that he would know from just cursory knowledge. The trap that buffs a monster by 1,000, and if it gets destroyed, it destroys the card, if it was set, and the trap that summons from deck. Any other card that it could be is just like kind of irrelevant in this. Doesn't really matter. So Doug, fearing it so much that he uses Seal Eel to use its on summon effect to, like, without being able to respond, prevent him from activating it. Horrible. Well, what else could he have done this turn? Well, seeing as MBT has one set and a Bubble Bringer, let's ignore all the other cards in his hand. Let's pretend we're Dzeeff, we don't know. Well, he can flip up Hand Samuragger. Oh, I should have put it in attack. And let's say he normal summons Goldfang. I don't want to do that. I want to normal summon it. He normal summons Goldfang. It'll trigger Goldfang. Both these will go to 2k. That's fine. He doesn't know what MBT has set, so making it 2k so that it's more likely to be over, perfectly fine. Okay, how about Hand Samuragger 2? Well, if he does the second, his first one gets stopped by, say, like, let's say it's Sakuretsu Armor or something. This one can go in and try and kill and get the effect. Perfectly fine. How about Friend Donkey? Friend Donkey would let him summon any of the other ones, but as mentioned before, he doesn't have any good Link monsters, so no reason to use that. And he doesn't have any Xyz monsters he can make, especially if he summons this, because he'll have 2 level 4s and level 3, so it won't matter. So it's fine if he wants to put more damage on, not really a good idea. The best thing he can do in this situation is not summon Seal Eel, it's summon Perform a Pal second Donkey. Because he can then trigger the effect of second... Oh, wrong thing. Trigger the effect of second Donkey. And despite not having pen skills, he won't add it to his hand. Instead, he will purposely send to the grave. If I can find it real quick. Perform a Pal Long Foam Bowl. The really annoying part is that in the video, he's looking at cards he can send. And he reads Long Foam Bull. He actually, like, he has it clicked at one point. And instead of sending this, he chooses to send Paratrio. Because Paratrio says that if it's destroyed by battle, you can summon a Perform a Pal from your deck. But it can't be append, meaning that the only card he'd be summoning is the low attack ones or Sleight Hand Magician. Now, the reason he's sending this one is because on the next turn, he's going to summon it back with Friend Donkey. But if he's already going to summon it back with Friend Donkey, the better play is sending Lawn Phone Bull. So let's do that. We put the bull, and just like how Doug does it, he goes in with Hand Samuraiger to attack face down. Blah. MBT flips it up, and it's Abyss Nere. So Doug takes 200 damage. It's nothing serious. Now, the second donkey's here, doing nothing. He's not going to attack with it. So Doug has nothing else he can do, so he passes his turn. Then we go to MBT. MBT now draws a second copy of the attack squad. So now he has the same cards in hand, minus a Nere. Instead, he has another Atlantean. Let's just add this to the list. So, MBT now has, I'll just banish this. So, MBT now has this as his hand, with a Nere on field. What he does is he summons Attack Squad, which, because Attack Squad's effect, it'll go to 2200 because he controls Nere. Now, in the video, MBT attacks Hand Samuraiger instead of Seal Eel. Had he attacked Seal Eel, he'd be doing 2100 points of damage, but he chose to attack Hand Samuraiger to kill it because, realistically speaking, Seal Eel's doing nothing, and Hand Samuraiger theoretically could somehow attack over something, and he doesn't want Doug to get the effect. Perfectly fine play. He passes his turn. So, assuming he does that still, Doug loses Hand Samuraiger. He then takes 400 damage. MBT passes his turn. Doug draws for turn. And Doug gets Salute Tiger. This card, it's not that good, as previously mentioned. So now, this is Doug's hand, had he followed through with what he should have done. Now, it is on this turn that he does second donkey. Because on the previous turn, he actually did Seal Eel, unfortunately. This turn, he does second donkey, and he chooses to send Paratrio. But, assuming we follow the right path, he would now normal summon Friend Donkey. Its effect. He would then summon out the Bull, which, on special summon, would activate its effect to add any performapal monster from deck to hand that isn't a pendulum. The only good target that you can do, because all he can do right now is either the donkeys, the final Hand Samuraiger, or he can't actually do another copy of this, so it'd just be those. He could add to hand Sleight of Hand Magician. Now, Sleight of Hand Magician can tribute one performapal monster that isn't a pen to summon itself. So, he can tribute the now useless second donkey to summon Sleight Hand Magician. Now, it can discard a card to target a face-up card in the field and destroy it. Now, it would be fine to do this. However, I think the best play would be to not do it immediately. Let's just wait, because it can target any face-up card in the field. So, what Doug can do is now he has a 16, a 16, and a 25. He can go, let's activate the Seal Eel. We can declare Seal Eel and negate the effect of Attack Squad. Well, now that its effects are negated, it goes back down to 14. So, now at 14, either of these can run it over. So, Doug can go to battle phase, he can attack the Long Phone Bull into the Attack Squad, killing it. He can then use the Sleight Hand Magician to attack Abyss Nere. Now, Nere says that when it leaves the field, you draw a card and discard a card. The card MBT would draw for turn, next turn, would be the one he draws here in this case. So, MBT would then draw this Nere. So he would draw the Nere, So now, I'm just going to use the Banish Zone as cards that are full on gone. Nope. Banish. 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 He would draw this Nere, and he had to pitch a card. Well, what can he pitch? Pitching Nere would be awful for him. He's never doing that. Pitching Abyssdine, it wouldn't trigger anything. There's no real reason to do it. Pitching the second attack squad, it'd be a pitch that wouldn't... It'd minus him, because he'd get a Nere at least. Wouldn't be a good idea. Pitching Turge, horrible idea. The only good pitch target is Gund, which would target a Mermail in the grave, i.e. Nere, to summon it. So he would summon out the Nere that died. So, let's go here. He would summon out the Nere that died. And now he would have, if I can move this over properly, he would have lost his Gund. But this would be MBT's hand, and he has another Nere on field. So, Doug can't attack with the second donkey because it's too big, so he goes to main phase 2. Well, he has these 3 cards in his hand. At this point, the best thing he can do is pitch one of them to destroy this card. Because then it puts MBT on just the back row, which he hasn't been able to do anything with. So, let's say, in this situation, he pitches Salute Tiger. Let's just banish it so it's gone. Salute Tiger's gone. So's Nere. Nere gone. But I can't trigger twice, it's only once per turn. So Doug will pass, and the card that MBT would draw on the following turn is kind of unknown, because we don't get far enough to see it because Doug ends up scooping on the following turn in the actual game. So we're going off of unknowns now, but MBT now has an unknown card, a Nere, an Abyssdine, an Attack Squad, and an Abyss Turge. His best course of action, without knowing what the top card is, would be to go Abyss Turge, normal summon, discard a water, in this case I'd say probably discard Dine, and target another water to add it to the hand. So he could add one of the Neres back. Or he can just add the Nere back, so he has that back. Or he could add Abyss Gund back, just so he has that in rotation again. Now, since he has a Nere in hand, all he has to do to get rid of this is go, after summoning this, it's at 17. He uses the other Nere in hand, and then he can destroy either the Attack Squad or the Dine. If he pitches the unknown card, he can destroy either of these, he gets over. If he pitches either of them, he can just destroy the other one, and he gets over Sleight Hand Magician. So Sleight Hand Magician goes away. And we banish it, so it's gone. And let's just say he destroys the worst one. So let's go Dine. Actually, does this target discard a water? So he technically could actually discard Dine and then target Dine and then use Dine effect to summon, but this is a thing I just now realized. I mentioned before I didn't totally work this out, which, if that's the case, he could summon the Mermail Link, which it really changes things up. But, this is just showing Doug had a chance, but he didn't take it because he didn't read, unfortunately. Anyways, he kills, in this situation, he kills it, so now this Nere is gone. And honestly, I feel like I should think about that before I do that. Pitch that, summon it back, target level 3 or lower, special summon the target. Target Nere. Because if he targets the Nere that's engraved, he makes the link. And is Nere a win? No, it's an if. So then he gets to draw and discard, and he has the link. And I think the link buffs by 500 to those that it points. So that means he'd be at 22 if he pointed it to him, which he probably would. and you get to draw and discard, which would probably trigger something. So that'd be two unknowns. So like MBT still probably winning this game, but Doug had a better chance. Assuming he doesn't do the Abyss Dying play and instead just gets back a Nayre for control reasons, and then he just pops one of these, kills the Sleight Hand Magician, passes turn to Doug. Doug would draw for turn, and he would get a second copy of Goldfang. Where is it? There it is. This is the final turn we get to see the draws for. So Doug's hand would now consist of 2 Goldfang and a Hand Samurai, and then a Friend Donkey and a Bull on field. What he can do here is he can summon this, buff both of these to make them both 18s, and then this will be a 2K, and just swing in for a whole lot of damage. He won't get to do all of it, obviously, because this is here, but he'd have to remember that MBT has the Nayre if he's added that back, so might be a bit risky. If he didn't have an Nayre, because he used the only one he had left, he could summon Hand Samurai, go to battle, beat this. Then he could search his deck for the Smile Sorcerer, and then try and get in. MBT would block with the Gravity Bind card. He could still get in with Donkey, but he couldn't use the Bull. And at least now the game's going to unknown territory, so we can't tell where it's going to go. MBT is still heavily favored, just because like it's Mermail, they can come back from anything. And had I thought out that idea with Abyss Dying much more, he probably could have just won right there in that turn if I thought about it a bit more. But I just wanted to make this to show a perceived misplay because, God, summoning Seal Eel turn 2 was infuriating to watch. I think I am going to keep doing this just because it was kind of fun to do this, but who knows? I can't really edit these on my computer because I don't really have a editing software, and my computer's not that good, so hopefully it turned out well. Later.